So I am back with another sugar paste trial. I have been a really big advocate for Couture, which is exclusively supplied by Cake Stuff. I absolutely love Massa Ticino also. I don't really know anyone who doesn't, but again, that comes at a really high price point. So Couture is always my go-to fondant or sugar paste, down to the fact that it's really fantastic quality, tastes really good, pretty easy to work with, and I'm happy with the price point. But of course, there are so many products on the market. New sugar pastes are coming out all the time, and companies will bring a sugar paste out and then play around with the ingredients and improve it, etc. So there's been some really new big names in the market in the last few years, and one that keeps popping up is the sugar paste. But this one, I mean, what a great name for a sugar paste, and I've seen this one around quite a bit. I've been very reluctant to try this. I don't know why. I don't know why. I've just been a bit reluctant, but now I thought it's really the time to kind of branch out and try new products. So I'll show you the cake that I'm going to cover. I'm going to try this sugar paste out, and then I'm going to let you know what my thoughts are, and we'll talk about how easy I think it is to work with, if there are any tears, etc. The taste, of course, and also we're going to be working on quite a tall cake, so it'll be really interesting to see how this works. Now, initially, this is sort of pretty firm. So I think this might be a little bit of a microwave job. I might need to heat that up a little bit in the microwave just to get it going. I also will talk about price, because of course, if you are selling cakes for business, price is always a really big factor, and it will really determine what sugar paste you go with. Okay, so first things first, obviously you want a sugar paste that tastes really nice. So I am going to do a taste test. It's not something that I typically do when I buy sugar paste, funny enough. I will use it, I'll use it on cakes, and then I'll try it with the sponge. So just to eat straight up icing is not something I've probably done since I was a kid, but everyone loves icing, so let's see. Okay, that is really yummy. And it smells really nice as well. It is quite similar to like other sugar paste that I've worked with, like Couture, in that it has a really nice vanilla-y taste, and it has that smell that's really yummy. I mean, a tiny bit synthetic at the end, but I think that can be easily overlooked. So there we go. On taste, pretty good. Nothing wrong with it at all. But let's go ahead and cover this cake. So my cake is about 6 inches tall, and this is what we'll be covering, and I want to do this in just one hit. Okay, so I have been pleasantly surprised by the sugar paste. I think I was a little bit cynical, I think about 2 years ago when I did see this come out on the market. I think it was just the name as well. It was like the sugar paste, you know, and the marketing was like, this is the sugar paste that you need, it's the best one on the market, blah blah blah. And for some reason, when I'm told that something is the best on the market, then I'm more cynical. I'm like, really? So it has taken me a while to even consider purchasing this brand. But Two things that have really impressed me is one, I had to keep stopping whilst I was working. So because I was filming at the same time, I would kind of roll the sugar paste out and then have to go and check the camera and make sure everything was in view and in focus. So I did not work as quickly as I would usually work with sugar paste, rolling that out and putting it onto a cake. And everybody knows if you work slowly, the paste will dry out and it will tend to crack, you'll get elephant skin and you won't get as neat a finish. So what was really impressive about this was, even though I took a while to work with it, it was absolutely fantastic. The finish was flawless. I rolled it out as thin as I would probably roll Masa Tocino. I thought, let's just go for it, let's roll this as thin as I can get it, and it worked beautifully. What is also really incredible, and I have seen people online say, like, what kind of magic is this, is that, you know, sometimes when you're doing a really tall cake and you're rolling the fondant out and then you put it over the cake and you always kind of have a gap on one side and you're like, oh, I haven't rolled it out enough. You can literally just pull the fondant down and cover that last bit at the end without any tears. There's no cracks at the top of the cake. So that was super, super impressive to me. The other thing is, I always use ganache underneath my cakes or underneath my fondant in order to get a really smooth finish. I find when I'm using couture especially, it just kind of gives me the optimum finish and makes it really easy to move the cakes around and handle them, especially when you're stacking wedding cakes. With this cake, I just used buttercream, which I haven't done in a while, but I thought I'm just going to go for it. I'll use buttercream underneath, because if this sugar paste is as good as they say it is, then even on a buttercream finished cake, it will look really good. And again, it was incredible to work with. And what was actually very impressive is I didn't have any air bubbles, and I get tons of air bubbles with couture, which I just kind of thought was just generally down to sugar paste in general. But I had no air bubbles. The only air bubbles I had were right at the top of the cake, and that was purely on me. That was my fault for not being quick enough and getting that fondant down and then smoothing all the air out. So that, again, really, really impressed. So in terms of workability, really fantastic. You've got plenty of time to work on that fondant, roll it out, get it over your cake, and when you haven't rolled it out large enough, you can just kind of pull those sides down without any tears. The finish is fantastic, it's really smooth, and you can roll the fondant or sugar paste out really thin. So workability, absolutely loved it. I didn't have to microwave it. Maybe I could have, but again, I was a little bit nervous of really ruining the texture if I made it too warm, so I kind of just persevered, warmed it up with my hands and got it rolling out. And actually, in terms of texture, it really does remind me of Masa. It has this kind of elastic tightness when you're rolling it, so it's not as soft as couture. So massive thumbs up in terms of workability. Taste, fine, I liked it. I liked the taste of it. I think it was really lovely. And also in terms of colour, so especially when we're looking at using these kind of brands for a wedding cake, it really is a brilliant white. So if your clients are asking for that very white wedding cake, this will be perfect as well for that. So another very important factor is pricing, and I have a few figures for you here. So the sugar paste, it retails at the moment online as of October 2019, and it's retailing at £21.99 for a 6 kg pack. So that's about £3.66 per kg. In comparison to couture is £15.45 at the moment. That's for a 5 kg pack, and that's retailing at £3.09 per kg. So yeah, quite a difference in price in terms of pennies. But then you also have Masa, which will always be at the higher end of the spectrum, and we're looking at £5.71 per kg. So I really think if you're a big fan of Masa and you're looking for something equivalent to Masa but a lot cheaper, I would definitely try out the sugar paste, without a doubt. Now, another thing with couture is that I will always use ganache, and ganache is far more expensive to cover your cake in than it is to use buttercream. So those few pennies difference might not even matter if I was just to switch up and start covering all my cakes in buttercream and then using the sugar paste. So it's a really good idea to always analyze what you're doing, especially if you're running a business, and compare prices, look at your processes, and kind of work out where you can kind of bring your prices down or your costs down generally. Another big factor, which I have mentioned before in previous videos when we've talked about costing and costings of your materials that you're bringing in, is the delivery charge. Now, a lot of us do our ordering online. We go to those big retailers, those big cake warehouses online, and we order a lot of our stuff. Now, some retailers, their postage and packaging is almost double in comparison to others. And that was a reason why I did want to start shopping around, because in the quieter months, I'm not buying in huge bulk. Usually I'll have a lot of stuff in, but I'll just need a few packets of sugar paste because I've run out, or a bride wants it in ivory and I don't tend to have a lot of ivory in stock. So you'll just need to order a few packets, and it can be a bit annoying when you have another £7-8 charge delivery on top of that. So if you can find a supplier who has a bigger range of sugar paste and maybe offer an alternative sugar paste that you like, but then you don't have to pay such a huge delivery charge, that is fantastic. And that was very much what pushed me into doing this experiment. So overall, very, very happy with the sugar paste. And next I will be looking at Renshaw. When I started baking, Renshaw was the first sugar paste that I used, and I absolutely hated it. I'm going to be honest, I couldn't work with it, it was too soft. However, that was years ago, and I know that they have improved their recipe and they have a new product on the market. A lot of people do use Renshaw, so I'm going to try that out. And there is another one called Smart Flex or something along those lines, which isn't very well known and heard of, but again, I have found this online and I've ordered it in because I want to try it out and just get a really good comparison of all the sugar paste on the market. So stay tuned. If you're new here, please subscribe, because there will be more videos about products and really honest reviews. I don't get any sort of commission for reviewing any products, so this is such an honest review of just products that I like and what I genuinely think of them. Thumbs up also if you like the video. There'll be a lot more tutorials and more to come, and please comment below if you have any suggestions, and especially if there's a sugar paste that you really love and think I must try.